I've got a twofold question on that because I think it's so important point that is misunderstood. Friction and conflict within the organization is, or in general, is perceived as something very bad that we need to avoid that, which is completely untrue. Unhealthy, unproductive conflict and friction needs to be avoided. Productive one, absolutely not. That's fuel. Absolutely,
I
humongous
don't.
amounts of energy that go into that
Yeah.
that can be utilized. And if you don't utilize that, that's when it becomes a waste. So the twofold question is, what does that friction look like that you described? Because I love that it must be a classic between engineering and sales. It's like sales and marketing. It's the same thing. If you could share a simple example of what that friction might look like. And second, how do you deal with that? You as a CEO, but also within the organization. Do the teams do it themselves? Does Alexis get involved? How does that happen?
Yeah. There's the ideal and there's the exceptions to the ideal. Ideally, what happens is these teams talk to each other. They understand the context that they're both operating in and the constraints. We're all resource constrained and the relative prioritization of different things. And they're able to get to a decision of we should build this, we shouldn't build it, we should build it later, we should build it now, but in a really scrappy way because it's, it doesn't actually matter, but someone wants it. And ideally they're able to get to those decisions on their own. When they're not, then it usually escalates to me. And sometimes we loop in Alexis to help have those conversations and structure that thinking because it's really hard for people to articulate what's it can be really hard for people to articulate what's motivating their desire to do a thing. And the good thing about having people who are very smart and hardworking and passionate is that they believe in things very with a lot of energy. And when those two collide, it creates that friction. So it's how do we make that as constructive as possible and take that friction and turn it into amazing output. So sometimes it's really digging into why people feel the way they feel, which sounds very soft and mushy, but it's true. Like, and it is hard. It can be hard to articulate written or verbal ways why you fundamentally believe a thing should be done in the way that it should be done. And it can take some time, both self-reflection and talk to other people to tease out the why. And then you kind of realize it might be about something else. It might be that you're worried or concerned about the future. It might be it might be that you really, really want to help the partner or help the member. So that's where we really try to get to in these conversations.